and just share some thoughts and share some ideas with you. This is part 2, and just a really brief series where we're addressing mental health trends, especially in the African American community. Last time, we spent some time walking through some history as we look back. Kenneth and Clark, some of the incredible things that they did through their doll study, and then ultimately what that study means for us now. And then we actually even spent some time just kind of walking through the importance of acknowledging, recognizing the things that we're feeling, right? Being intentional about what we feel, intentional about addressing what we feel, intentional about addressing emotion. And then we spent some time in scripture as well when we looked in Luke chapter 8 and part of chapter 9, where we see Jesus healing the woman with the issue of blood, and through her touching him and him sharing this idea of power leaving him. And then again in chapter 9, right around verse 10, we then see him taking the disciples and retreating, going to a place, right, where he has healed, power has left him. Of course, he's still sovereign, but that he perceived power leaving him. And then he goes on to continue ministry. And then again in chapter 9, he takes the disciples and they withdraw to a place of solitude. Today, you all, we're going to shift into another topic that is very, very, very significant. And it is the topic of stress management. In fact, if I were to ask you all the question that you all would be very transparent and vulnerable in terms of answering to yourself, I would ask you, as of right now, how stressed out are you? Right? What is your stress level? What are your stress levels? What are you feeling? Where's your stress? As a matter of fact, if I were to say on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being absolutely no stress, 10 being the most stress possible, what would you say? Where would your stress level be? For me, if I could be honest, you all, I'm kind of always around a 6 or a 7, just in my personal struggles with anxiety. And so my stress tends to be high perpetually. So that's my journey. But I'm interested to know where you are, right? Where are you with stress? Where are you with the stress that you feel? How stressed out are you? What are you feeling? Right? This is something we need to be honest about because, interestingly enough, you all, stress speaks, right? The stress that we feel affects the body and it speaks to us. So where's your stress level? One of the interesting things about stress, you all, is that I think that we have many ways of defining it personally, but there's an interesting definition for stress that I think we all need to spend time just kind of reflecting on what it means for us. And ultimately what stress is when a person feels that the demands of life exceed their personal resources, right? Where the demands of life exceed their personal resources. In other words, life is pulling more from you than you have to give. That's stress. And I'm interested to know what that looks like for you. A couple of interesting stats about stress. About 77% of people that experience stress experience physical symptoms. Another 73% experience psychological symptoms. 33% of people live with extreme stress. And over the past 5 years, about 48% of those who experience stress report that their stress has increased over the past 5 years. And here's one that I think is very personal for you all, and I know it's personal for myself. About 48% of the people who are stressed out report moments where they lie awake at night, not being able to sleep because of stress. If you're anything like me, well, that speaks to me because I know those moments where I'm lying down and my mind is just racing. All I can think about is the negative. All I can think about is what I need to do, or what I should have done, or the bad things that may happen, right? Just stressed out, unable to rest. But another interesting thing about stress, you all, another important thing to recognize, it's not just how it affects you as an individual, but also how your stress affects other people. For example, 48% of people who are stressed out report that their stress has impacted not just their personal life, but also their professional life. 54% of people who are stressed out report that stress has caused fights and tension and arguments between them and those who are the closest to them. Isn't it interesting how it always tends to be those closest relationships that are affected the most by our emotional struggles? And in some ways, how we take our stress and our anger and our frustrations and how we project those emotions on others, especially those who are closest to us. Our spouses, our children, our friends, our coworkers. And then lastly, 26% say that their stress has caused them to be alienated from other people. Stress you. And then we can go on and explore the reality, you all, that one of the most reported reasons for hospital visits is stress and anxiety related issues. Stress, you all. What are some of the most significant stressors that people are reporting? Top 3. You're probably already thinking of a list. Jobs, money, and health. So as we think through these reasons for why we're so stressed out, we also need to explore what to do about it. Because clearly we can't just sit in our stress and stew in our stress and do nothing about it. Part of the intentionality of understanding our health is addressing it. There's a biblical passage, you all, that speaks to what this looks like as a community. And very simple is Galatians 6:2, which commands us to bear one another's burdens. And it says that when we bear one another's burdens, it fulfills the law of Christ. And what is the law of Christ? The law of Christ is love. Right? Remember Jesus saying that he did not come to do away with the law, but to fulfill the law. And in him, the law is fulfilled through love demonstrated on Calvary. What does it look like for us as a community of individuals to individually address our issues, our emotional struggles, and to collectively address our stress and our emotional struggles? Well, Christ our King, one of the things that we need to do as a body is we need to lean in and help people process and reflect on what it is they're feeling. Part of the way in which we do that, you all, and allow me to challenge you just gently, it's by listening. Listening. Not by speaking. There's a time for that. But by listening. Think about yourself in your most tense moments. You're not looking for a lecture. You're looking for an ear. And in doing that, you all, you're able to help people identify the things that are stressing them. And eventually the idea is that we begin to develop some healthy coping mechanisms, ways to care for self and to help care for others. So as we think about this, we need to be sleeping regularly, you all. What does your sleep schedule look like? How many hours are you getting a night? We need to be intentional. Allow me to challenge you. And I know I'm talking to adults, right? So I'm not putting you on a bedtime, right? I'm not putting you on a curfew. But I think that part of the intentionality is addressing the reality that when you wake up exhausted and the demands of life are pulling on you and pulling on the resources that you not have, some of that is because of our sleep pattern. We need to get some rest, you all. Is there a time where you can set as your shut-off time? A time where you say, I am not doing anything else beyond this time. Is it 9:30? Is it 10? Is it 10:30? I'm 42 years old now, right? So that time is a little bit earlier for me now. Right? Between 9:30 and 10, I'm trying to bring it down. Number two, what do our diets look like? Are we eating healthy? Are we eating in a way that is beneficial for us physically? Another one obviously would be exercise. And I'm trying to do more of this and trying to be better about this. Walking for me has done wonders, but what does it look like for you? Another one you want that's very important, perhaps very, very, very significant, is the idea of finding your hobbies. What are the things that you like to do? Because all about self-care is well, one of the aspects of self-care, you all, is engaging in the things that excite us, the things that bring pleasure to us. Is that reading? Do you take rides on a Sunday? What does that look like for you? Find those things and explore those things. Because believe it or not, when you're not engaging in pleasurable activities, it can increase your stress level. Because you have no way of releasing the tension from life. And lastly, we need to maintain our social supports. For the stressed or the anxious individual, you all, it is not good to be alone. It is not a journey that we take alone. It is a journey that we need people to lean in and to help bear our burdens, as Galatians 6:2 commands us. So please don't do this alone. Please don't journey alone. We need to maintain our supports. That may be a friend, that may be therapy, that may be pastoral care. Whatever it looks like, you may not journey alone. Christ our King, this is part 2, and I certainly pray that it is encouraging for you. We're going to do one more in this series, and then we're going to start putting out monthly videos just addressing our internal world. And our next video is going to address the idea of conflict resolution and forgiveness. Christ our King, take care. See you soon. God bless.